Hello everyone, today I'm going to be continuing the reading of Blaire Wilson's second book by Jennifer Castle. Chapter 2, Super Bonita. No way, Thea whispered next to me. Is that really? Marco Gonzalez, I finished. OMG times a million. Marco Gonzalez's online video channel, Room Revolutions, is one of our favorites. He's a designer who always comes up with something that makes you go, whoa. Marco smiled wide, put his helmet down on the seat of the motorcycle, and began walking toward us. Blaire? Thea murmured to me. FYI, you now have hay and chicken feathers in your hair. I do. I wanted to brush my hand through my hair, but I was holding the corners of my shirt to cradle the eggs. OMG, not a shirt, a pajama top. I felt heat rush straight from my feet up to the back of my neck. My favorite celebrity designer had appeared at my front porch, and here I was in my pajamas and dirty work boots, with hay and feathers in my hair. A fantastico morning to you, Marco said. Hi, I said, suddenly nervous. Welcome to Pleasant View Farm. I am humbled to be here. My name is Marco. I know. We're big fans, I said. I am Blaire, and this is my friend, Theodora Demetriou, Thea said, in the most grown-up voice I'd ever heard her do. Since she couldn't shake his hand, she raised her egg-filled pajama top as if it were a ball gown and curtsied. Charmed. Marco bowed deeply from the waist. Miss Demetriou, he replied, turning to me. He said, Miss Wilson, young event designer, it's an honor to meet you. Wait, Marco Gonzalez knows my name? And he called me an event designer? Marco looked at our big Victorian house, nodding his approval. This is a stunning home, like a work of art, built in 1880s, yes? Then he turned to the freshly painted barn down the hill. And the renovated barn looks just perfecto. You heard about that too? I asked. Oh yes, I've read all about it, he said, then smiled, a twinkle in his eye. Thanks to Empire State Weddings. Whoa, I exclaimed. The new issue is finally out? A writer from the magazine had come to Kat's wedding to take pictures and write about our event space. We'd been anxiously waiting to see it. What does the review say? I have an advanced copy right here, Marco said, tapping his saddlebag. And the review is wonderful. Wonderful. Really? Wow. That's so, exciting, I stammered. I'm just starting to renovate a historic house in Bluefield, Marco said. When I read this article and saw the photos, I had to come see Pleasant View Farm for myself. Perhaps someone could show me around? Absolutely, a voice said from the porch. It was Dad. Grandpa stepped out of the house behind him. I'm Daniel Wilson. This is my father-in-law, Ben O'Connell. This is magaziner Marco, I said. He has an advanced copy of the magazine with the Pleasant View Farm Review in it. Grandpa came down the steps carrying a wire basket. I saw you from inside, Blaire. It looks like you need a bit of help, he said, unloading the eggs from my shirt. He winked at me before gathering the eggs that Thea was holding. Grandpa left the eggs on the porch, and Dad led the way to the barn as he explained all the renovations we'd done. Blaire helped me plan the space, he said. And she put in a lot of elbow grease to have it ready in time for Kat's big day. Marco smiled at me. Way to go, elbows. I blushed. Thea helped too. She even made up a rap while we were working. You want to have a wedding where it's warm and cozy. Thea began to rap, throwing herself into performance. Come party right here and everything will be rosy. Marco laughed and started dancing to her song. I love it, he said as we got to the barn. We're working on decorations for our 100th birthday party next weekend, I said, sliding the door open and ushering Marco inside. Super bonita, he exclaimed, and Thea and I couldn't help giggling. That's a catchphrase he uses when he thinks something really works. And it did look super bonita. I pointed to the ceiling and told Marco we'd tied exactly 100 white ribbons above us to make a canopy over the space. There were 10 tables, and each represented a different decade. I'd finished a few of the centerpieces. The one of the 1920s was gold and black, with feather boas and toy jazz instruments. The 1950s table had a mini jukebox and old records. And the 1970s was all tie-dye and peace signs. Grandpa and I researched the decades, I told Marco. Oh, excellent. That's fun, fun, fun. I like this 1,000%, Marco said, circling the tables and taking it all in. You've put so much creative thought into this. Thea nudged me and grinned. Here was a professional designer I really admired, saying nice things about my ideas. Marco wanted to see the rest of the farm, so we let him past the herb and kitchen gardens. We showed him the growing fields and greenhouse in the distance, then walked under the white wooden arch to the orchard, to the gazebo by the creek where Kat and Gabe's wedding ceremony was held. When we got to the animals, Marco fell in love with the chickens. These Silkies have style, he exclaimed. Pleasant View Farms is even better in person. It feels magical. Thank you, Dad said. Do you have time to come in and have some breakfast? I always have time for breakfast, and I can show you the magazine review. Finally! Thea cried, saying what I was thinking. In the restaurant dining room, we introduced Marco to Mom. I saw my mother blush for the first time in, ever. She loves watching room revolutions with me. Thea and I whipped up some eggs while Mom made apple pancakes. We all sat at a big wooden table on the restaurant patio. While we ate, Marco spread open the Empire State Weddings issue. There it all was. Photos of the ceremony at the gazebo by the creek. Kat and Gabe riding a tandem bicycle down the pathway lined with luminarias. The barn at sunset. A table setting with Mom's beautiful plated meal. Gabe's mother's bubble machine. And Kat and Gabe holding a pair of chickens dressed like a bride and groom. When we told Marco the story of the chickens invading the barn, he was delighted. You know what I always say, Marco exclaimed. If there's no drama, there's no fun. Thea and I finished one of his favorite sayings for him. This is such a great review, Mom said as she read through the article. I could hear both excitement and relief in her voice. I couldn't have wished for better, Dad agreed, putting his arm around her. You know, Marco, Grandpa said, it was my idea to restore the barn and start hosting big events. Marco looked confused when Mom, Dad, Thea, and I burst out laughing. Grandpa was dead set against the barn all summer, I explained to Marco. He didn't come around to the idea until he saw how wonderful Kat and Gabe's wedding turned out. Marco clapped Grandpa gently on the back. Well, whoever had the idea, it was a good one. Marco's prediction, your farm will be busy with big events for a long time. More decorating, I announced. Slow down, junior designer, Dad said. It was one thing to help with Kat's wedding during the summer. You're in school now. That's your priority. And you still have plenty of chores, Mom reminded me. Don't be so sad, Marco said. You get to live here. I wish I could stay here instead of at some boring hotel. Grandpa pulled a chicken feather from my hair. It's almost never boring around here. We just had a cancellation for one of our rooms, Dad said, so you could stay here. At exactly the same time, Marco, Thea, and I said, Super bonita. Jinx, Marco said to me and Thea. Then he turned to Dad. That's an offer I won't turn down. Muchas gracias. Marco jumped up from his chair. Excuse me while I go call my producer. She'll take care of the arrangements. Marco headed inside, but he paused at the door and turned back to Thea and me. Would you girls like to come visit the house I'm renovating? My mouth dropped open. That would be amazing. Marco nodded and left. I turned to Thea. I can't believe it. Room Revolutions is working on a house right here in Bluefield, and we're going to visit the set, and Marco Gonzalez is staying at Pleasant View Farm. Believe it, darling, Thea said. But say goodbye to things getting back to normal. So that is the end of chapter 2. So it sounds like this Marco guy is really quite something, and he sounds super cool. I hope they have a lot of fun going to see the set, which I think is going to be happening in the next chapter. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. Also subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell for post notifications. Thanks for watching. See you soon.